Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a product review for you of the ASTRO A40 headsets. Included in this review is a big compatibility section about the ASTRO M80 MixAmp for Xbox One because there's a lot of, headset issues with Xbox One thanks to the proprietary port on the controller. We're also going to be looking at the PlayStation 4 and the new ASTRO MixAmp Pro, which replaces the old MixAmp. Before I move on, I thought I'd make it clear that I am sponsored by Astro Gaming. I did sign an agreement with them, but it's a very open-ended agreement, and I'm allowed to criticize and point out flaws as I see fit, and I hold myself to a high standard on this review series, so my business arrangements will not influence this review. The A40 headsets have been around for a very long time, so I'm not going to review them first. Many of you have already experienced this instead. We're going to put them to the side. Probably lay them down so they don't fall over and make noise. And we're going to talk about the MixAmp M80, which I'll hold up to the camera. You can see the name of it right there on the back. This is the new MixAmp for Xbox One. And for those of you that are Xbox One users, you are probably familiar with the problem of the Xbox One having its own proprietary special fancy port that almost nothing works with, whereas the PlayStation 4 and the other consoles have pretty standard ports that work with like everything. It's a standard thing. But for whatever reason, Microsoft decided to go with a new fancy proprietary port. They said it was so that users could have better audio control over the inputs and outputs on the controller. I personally think it's just so that they could patent it and charge headset companies and peripheral companies a percentage to use their patent and make people buy headsets again, but that's a personal thing. But because of that, if you played on Xbox One, you had a ton of headset incompatibility issues. You had to buy a chat adapter, which was shaky at best. Mine unfortunately did not work, but Astro has been working pretty hard and they have this little device. And the cool thing about this is this device is pretty much this entire MixAmp, but shrunk down to a small package so that it works with the Xbox One. You'll see the volume and balance options here, and if you look closely, you'll see the same volume and balance options on the M80. This is audio balance modes. It comes with 3 of them. Every time you click this button, it changes the modes. It has the default mode, where sounds are standard. There is a Pro mode, which increases midtones, and you're supposed to help you hear footsteps better. And then there's a bass mode, if you want to listen to music or anything. It's actually called media. It changes the bass. But you can also see here on this side, we have voice. So you can click this one to move the volume closer toward, like, if you want to hear more voice and less game. Or if you want to hear more game volume, you can just click this on the side, and you can just kind of click and balance the 2 out. On the bottom, we have the master volume, or just the standard volume knob here. You just twist this left and right and get it set, and you can mute yourself on and off by clicking the button. It's pretty standard controls, but in a small package. But the big question is, does it actually work? If you're an Xbox One user, you've probably tried at least a dozen different things to get your headsets to work, and I can say with absolute certainty that this actually works with Xbox One, and you get great audio quality. Like, no joke, I've used almost everything and very few things worked or worked properly. That being said, there are some issues with this that we're going to talk about in a minute, but I'm going to show you how it works. Yes, you get game chat, you get voice chat, you can change your settings, it sounds normal. Your voice on the other end is high quality, it's not scratchy or broken. I've been testing it for a while. It actually works as advertised, which is a really good thing. But this actually uses their proprietary port. You can see that they line up pretty well, if I can get it all on the camera in one kind of angle. And basically all you do is you pop it into the bottom of the controller like so, and I'm kind of doing it, I'm holding my controller funny so I can't see where to line it up. There we go. And it's already popped in place, and that's it. You're kind of good to play, good to game, no issues. There are some questions like, are you accidentally going to hit this with your hands? Unless, I hold the controller normally like this. So unless you are going to put your hands over here or something, you're never going to hit these buttons. And there's also some issues if you're going to hit the thing on the back. So I'll flip over to the back side, and you can see that my fingers rest just pretty close to it. They might touch it a little bit, but very little. I have longer fingers than most, so if you're a person with like really long, like squid hands, you might touch this. Short fingers, normal fingers, it's not going to get in the way. It's pretty much out of the way and not a problem. However, there are some problems with the M80 and SCUF controllers and with some updates. There we go. Problem number 1 with the M80, which is a huge problem for me, if you have a 4-paddle SCUF controller like one of these, and if you're into gaming a lot and you're researching headsets and other things, you've seen these products before. This is my controller, the SCUF Drifter controller. And if you have 4 paddles, you'll notice that when I try to plug this into the back, there's immediately an issue, and it can't go over the paddles, and it can't go under the paddles, and that kind of gets in the way, which is unfortunate. Now, if you have a 2-paddle SCUF controller, and like 95 to 90% of the SCUF controllers don't have these additional paddles here, if you just have the 2 on the side, it's going to fit perfectly, it's going to work fine, and you're not going to have any problems. It does, I had some questions, it does fit over the grips on the sides. None of the additional gripping or changing on the controllers messed up the M80, but 4 paddles will. 2 paddles will not, 4 paddles will. So that's a frustration for me because I have my own branded, you know, SCUF drifter controller, but I can't use the M80 headset with it, which is very frustrating. So I'm considering downgrading to 2 paddles in order to make this work. Other compatibility issues are that if you do not update your controller for this, it won't work. In order to make this work, you have to update the firmware on your controller to the latest firmware. I actually tested this because I know that some people will just plug it in and not do this. If you plug this product into a controller that is not updated properly, it's gonna sound horrible. You're gonna get a lot of scratching, a lot of audio kind of problems. It's generally unpleasant. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you update your controller, get your firmware up to date, get it ready to go, and it'll work fine. If you don't do that, it's gonna sound unpleasant. You're gonna say it's broken when that's not the case at all. One other neat thing about this is you don't have to plug it into anything. It's its own power source. You can plug it in here. If I'm doing it kind of sideways again, if I can pay attention. And you would think that maybe, okay, this end you have to plug into the MixAmp and do complicated stuff. Nope. You can take it and plug it straight into the bottom of the A40s, just like that. And that's it. It's good to go. You put it on your head. And I've got it a little bit tangled here, but that's it. You don't need any USB power here. You don't need an external device. The entire controls are set, and this is all you need, the headset and the M80 MixAmp. You're solid for Xbox One at that point, which is very nice. It's convenient. It's a little bit more convenient than having a MixAmp or anything more complicated going on. The last downside to the M80 is that unfortunately this one does not have digital surround sound. This is just a standard stereo left-right, like a left speaker, right speaker, not a proper full surround sound, so there is some loss in audio quality. Unfortunately, I'm pretty much going to blame that one on Microsoft. I don't think it's a problem with Astro because they've had really good headsets, but it's a problem with this proprietary port and Astro trying their absolute best to find a workaround for it and make it work for consumers in an easy, logical manner. Like if you want to get digital out of these controllers, you have to do something far, far more complicated than this device. So that is a downside. However, I honestly doubt that very many of you will notice that. So we've talked a lot about Xbox One. Let's talk about PlayStation 4 a little bit. PlayStation 4 is a far simpler device when it comes to audio. PlayStation 4 has a standard PC audio port, the same one that like all PC headsets use. You've seen this your whole life, and pretty much everything works with the PlayStation 4. I've plugged my commentary mics in, my snowball mics, USB mics, these 2.5 millimeter mics. I've plugged in all kinds of stuff, and it works fine. And the cool thing about the Astro headset is there's 2 ways you can do it with the PlayStation 4. There's the super easy way, which is you can see that the headset itself actually has the exact same standard port on the bottom, and it comes with a standard cable. You can plug it in right here, and then you can take the headset and you plug it into the bottom of the PlayStation controller like so, right here. And that's it. You're kind of good to go. I thought at first that it wouldn't do the microphone because when I first got it, I just plugged in like PC headsets and it was working fine. I didn't get my left and rights mixed up here. But since it's double threaded, I think is the right word. I'm trying to keep my technological stuff correct here. It actually does pick up the headphone. So this is all you need actually. You can just plug it in and run it just like this. Unfortunately, if your audio balance is wrong, if the game sounds are too loud, if your microphone is too loud, too sensitive, if the people's voices are too soft or too quiet, in order to fix that, you have to hit the PlayStation Guide button, go to the PlayStation settings, and move their adjustment bars kind of up and down, which means that you have to do this while not playing the game and is very inconvenient. And if you don't want to do those things, there's a far easier way to manage all of that, and that product is going to be the Astro MixAmp here, which I'll try to balance upright while I take off the headsets and not drop anything. Again, I've dropped quite a few things during the process of this review. It's all been edited out. It's editing magic! This device, you can use it both on the Xbox One if you want to, or you can use it with the PlayStation 4 or the PC. When I'm streaming, this actually hooks up to my PC and manages a lot of the audio. I consider this to be like the magic box. Any problem that you have, this solves. Now you do have to buy this extra, it costs money, but it's a quality of life device. On its surface, what you'll see is you have on-off switch. You have a master volume knob that you can turn up and down. You have a balance knob, so you can turn it more to the voice chat, or you can turn it more toward the game audio. And it's a little sticky, so it'll stick in the middle. You've got your equalizer options, you've got your headphone settings here. It's pretty normal, but the cool thing about it is we've got these inputs and outputs on the bottom. These are for daisy chaining, so you can hook these devices together and make a big chat, like a little private LAN type chat. But we also have output to controller, output to headset. On the top, we have USB, so you can hook it up to the console via USB or to your computer via USB if you want to input that way. We have stream, MP3, optical in. We've got a lot of ports, a lot of different things. And if there's something that you want to do with your headsets, if you want to make a type of headset work with a product and a computer and an audio splitter and a box and whatever in the world it is that you want to do, this is pretty much going to be your magic solution box. If you go to astro.com and you look up all the devices that this is compatible with, it'll show you all the ones that it's easily compatible with. But what I have found is that where there is a will, there is a way, and you can make this work with almost anything. Last up today, we have the actual headset to review. I talked about everything else. The reason I saved the headset for last is because the headset's kind of an older product to an extent. Now these are the new headsets, they're a little bit different, but almost all of you have probably experienced an Astro headset. They sell them in GameStops, pretty much every sort of convention, MLG, tournament, con, whatever. They have Astro representatives there, so I feel confident that many of you have experienced this. If you haven't, I'll do a quick breakdown. The aesthetics on the Astro A40 are very similar to the new Astro Gen 2 A40s. They're similar to the old ones. They have a pretty similar build on the top, adjustments. They have the microphone. If you don't like the placement of the microphone, you can just pop it off, which is kind of cool, and put it on the other side because these tags also come off. Now I use the Team Envious tags, but you can use any ones you want. I'll do a little hot swap here just to show you. So I'm gonna move it over to the other side. Just whatever is convenient. Oop, probably better put this on first. Whatever is convenient for you, whatever works, it's all good. We got that popped in. We'll put this one on the other side. So you can do a lot of little aesthetic things with it. The earbuds move, you can see them wobble. Microphone adjusts pretty much any kind of way. These move up and down. You can make for big head and little head. This is very, very stretchy. You can't really mess it up no matter how mean you are to it. I mean, unless you just drop kick it or something. And the sound quality is really good. I've been using Astro headsets for a very long time. I probably had a pair of my own before I worked with my company, not my company, this company since like 2010, maybe 2011. I haven't been sponsored by them, but I've had these products, and if you've seen me stream, you can go back to all my old stream backlogs, and when you want to see what product is on my head, especially when I'm doing console, PC, I've done a few other things. It's going to be Astros. They work. Like when I stream now, it's actually, I think I used my old A40s and hooked up with this because my wife has decided that these are hers and I can't have them. It's funny how that works. But I use this in particular, and my old A40s worked with this, and the new A40s are stolen from me, Jessica. But it's something that I use very often. I'm very comfortable with. I'm happy with the quality. My wife is happy with the quality. My friends are, and it's something that I would recommend. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that these are cheap products. Don't be under the illusion that this is a bargain brand, or that this is an inexpensive brand, or that it won't cost a couple $100. This is like a high-end quality headset. This is a premium branded headset. They're very particular about the brand and the premiumness of it, so it's kind of one of those things, you get what you pay for. If you want to pay good money for something that's really good and lasts a long time, because my old 2010 ones still work fantastically, get Astros. If you want to buy a cheap headset, get something else. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope that you learned something about the headsets and their compatibilities. If you want to check them out, there is a link down there below in the description that'll take you straight to the Astro website. And if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.